We have an interesting brand new find for you. This is a Slingerland Radio King, right? 19 when? What's the deets that you know?
So it has aluminum badge. So we'll probably put it like 1944, 1945,
Okay.
World War II.
World War II. What is the shells?
So these are like the classic, when you think of Radio King shells. 3-ply with the big old fat E-rings on the inside.
Okay.
This is I think it's a 7. Oh boy. This is my DW 9000. Should call them about that. It's a Super Gene Krupa. I think it's a 7x14. Solid shell maple snare. It's got the original wires on here, the muffler. The pictures that I saw in the listing, I couldn't tell if it had the arm. Mm-hmm. It's got the arm on there, which is good, so you don't have to buy a reproduction arm.
Is it normal for the wire to be wrapped all the way around it like that?
No, I don't know why he did that. Probably to keep this in place, because you can see that they hook on to the actual clamshell on both sides, but they're also upside down, so it's probably something to do with it.
They are upside down. Yeah. Goodness. So where'd you find this kit before we go more into the details?
I found it on the internet.
So this was just stored in someone's house for 60 years?
So the guy got it from cleans out houses, which is sometimes where we get our kits is, or snares, where people will clean out a house and then they have this old drum kit. Mm-hmm. It's just kind of interesting. I was slightly bummed because, if you guys can see, it's got a tack bottom rack tom there. And
over here.
Again, the pictures weren't like that great, but that's basically the tack is pretty much destroyed on the bottom. There's no tension left. So I was hoping we could just kind of like clean it up a little bit and sell it as a 3-piece, but since that's like not functional, we'll probably sell this and that one separate from each other.
Mm. So these originally came with a tunable batter, and then the bottom was calfskin just tacked on.
Yeah, terrible idea.
It is. Why wouldn't they just put another set of lugs on it?
They started doing that later. Maybe I'm not a historian, but I think somewhere around this time is when they came out with like the dual tension. Mm-hmm. But it was also cheaper to do it that way, probably, since it's less lugs, less drilling. But again, it was a technology thing. As obviously time went on, like drum technology got better. Like, let me try to see this example here. I don't know, you guys can't see the throne back here. I do not know if this is actually like a catalog throne. I've had another one like it at some point, but.
Imagine playing a 3/8 set show on that bad boy.
I'm pretty sure that this was actually made by somebody because it's got, it looks all legit. And I've had another one, but like that's what you sat on, so.
Gosh.
You got a hydraulic rocking sock right now, and now you're sitting on this wood.
I mean, that's like something a school, like an old school would have or something. Super weird.
Yeah, and look at this. So like everything attaches to the hoops. So we have a dual cowbell holder up here. This one is missing a tightening thing on there, and that just literally just attaches onto the hoop. The spurs, which I was happy to have both sets of spurs, because a lot of times either one side will be missing or the actual spur will be missing, so those are there.
Those are the originals.
Yeah. It's got the original red felt external bass drum muffler, which is also attached to the hoop.
Original heads.
Yeah. There's a pretty good rip on this side, which is kind of a bummer. But original calfskin heads. This is the cymbal arm there that again attaches to the hoop.
Wild. Would this normally be on the batter side, maybe?
Probably, yeah. I literally just took it out of my car and brought it in. So we'll probably go over here. Yeah, you're right about that. This is a UFIP. I think it's probably an 11. It's got a set of
little tins.
Yeah.
Oh man, I have a weird thing with threading, like when metal scrapes threading. Oh my gosh.
These sound great. But these were more than likely not born together. Some of this stuff was pieced together. The hi-hat stand.
You see that?
D&M, I have to look that up. It's D&M
Drum
Manufacturing out of New York, Long Island, New York. But it's missing part of the clutch on the top. I think there's probably a screw that goes in the threaded part. But it's excuse me, other than the missing nut that would go here.
I mean, it works. You certainly wouldn't be doing anything super intricate, but it's interesting that the heel plate is elevated.
Yeah, kind of a neat piece.
You know what? I bet if you were wearing like dress shoes with a big heel, you needed that.
Yeah.
In order to get over the.
I've never seen it here. When I like picked it up, I'm like, oh, this probably needs to flip the other way.
Yeah, it looks like it's just wrong, but it's not. Wild.
It's kind of cool, like how few moving parts there are, unlike the old hardware.
And how's it? I don't even want to. I'll end up breaking it. That's interesting piece. Interesting piece. This thing.
It's got the original Epic pedal. This part's bent here, but again, this would just attach to the plate. Whoops. Obviously, this beater has seen better days. But I always liked how kind of intricate the footboards were in these.
Yeah.
Kind of neat. And again, this is all functional. A lot of times, like the later pedals, see this with Epic, 1S number 2. This would be, these screws will come out, but like that's actually, looks like it's tacked in there. So the stuff's like pretty well made for how old it is.
So what are you planning to do to get this thing sellable? How far are you going to take it?
Not very. So with nickel, some people like to clean nickel a lot.
Yeah.
I don't, number one, because it's like really time consuming. And because I think it kind of looks cool.
That looks cool.
Yeah. I mean, like, patina is like a buzzword, I guess, but that's really cool. Just the wear on the finish there. Like, obviously I don't like that rust, but I probably will just, you guys probably can't see, but those are just screws.
Pretty recent, looks like.
Yeah. They used to do that with leadies, because they had some leadies had a different screw, like a thread pattern. So you would get like a leady snare and it'd have all screws in there because they were really hard to find. The tension rods are skinny. So I'll probably swap out the tension rods, maybe take off some of the rust, get this functional, and then leave it.
How hard is it to find a new lug to replace that?
You can get them. They also make reproductions. I think actually DFD sells those, Mike. I don't think they do them in nickel though.
They won't look like this.
Right. Right. So I think I have one of those that I'll put in there. But I haven't looked much of the inside. There's a good bit of re-ring separation there, which is common on Radio Kings. And it's kind of a difficult, not that it's a repair. Usually all I got to do is like glue the ring, clamp it, leave it. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, the Radio Kings are hard to get to stay. Mm. More than likely just because it's a solid maple shell. I think Chris Hewer in Los Angeles is one of the few people I know that I can actually get it to stay. Mm. So a lot of times I'll just leave it. One other thing too, I don't know if you know this, Mike, but Radio Kings are known to barrel. So if you have a twin lug drum like this, so meaning that there's a dual tension, over time the drum will go and it'll kind of like barrel over. So it sticks out. And you'll see that sometimes on Ludwigs too, and you'll see kind of some splits here. These drums typically don't split, but if you really can see, it kind of looks like almost comes out just a little bit like that.
Oh, wow.
So that's why you see the ones that have just a single streamlined lug in the middle.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that are more valuable just because of the way that they hold their tension.
Oh, no kidding. Mm-hmm. I always thought the two lug was the one.
I like the way the two lugs look myself.
Yeah.
But this is kind of a neat little thing. I can't tell. Usually the hoops will be stamped, but they're just so like pitted, and that doesn't look like they are. Just kind of interesting. Oh, also, so when I went to pick this up, like there were like five cymbals in the hi-hat stand, all just stacked up. This is probably a 12. And then this is a transition stamp Zildjian. This is in pretty good shape. This is a U-fit, and it's got a crack in it, and it just looks like...
It looks like it's been even shaved down, maybe. Maybe it was a 12 at one point.
Yeah, but that's kind of thing there. And then we got a first stamp Zildjian. I think this was a 30 cymbal. But if you look at the stamp, Mike, you can see the difference in there.
Oh, yeah. So these were not bought at the same time.
I was hoping, like, when I went to put them, like, pick them up, that they would fit, make a set of hats, but
they don't.
No.
One's a 12 and one's an 11.
So they'll be splash cymbals, yeah.
This is pretty heavy.
It might have been a hi-hat.
Probably was.
But yeah, sometimes when you get like, I mean, this kit has been around for what, 80 years, something like that?
Oh, yeah.
Stuff gets added on, taken away. You know, this was not the way that was more than likely bought.
And then what are those? Those are the 10s?
Yeah, that's the...
With the weird...
Yeah, they called, so like this one, like with the big bell, they call it like a sock hat. Mm-hmm. And you would see that type on like low boys often, and I've had them in hi-hat form. They're just kind of like small and clangy. And then this is just, I didn't even look for a stamp on this one. It looks like it's almost an English-made cymbal. But
Where's
it's
that other weird 12?
Oh.
Over there.
This one down here.
Another...
Yeah, this one is just like a...
It's like
It's almost like you think like Back to the Future.
I mean, is it even a real symbol, or is it just...
No, that was probably a sock hat.
Nuts. That's nuts.
This probably all came out of the same factory. It's not like a high quality.
There's no lathing to speak of.
So if you guys are into stacks, man, like...
You can fry some eggs on that thing.
No, this will be cool. We won't do a whole lot. Like, we're not going to take everything apart. We'll clean it up, make it look presentable, and then sell these two separately.
I mean, this is more of a museum piece than anything, right? Like
You'd be surprised, man. It's 26 thumps. And it's not like that. That's the thing is, you look at this and you're like, oh man, like the guy we got it from, he's like, yeah, my buddy, he's a drummer. He told me to throw it away because it was a kid's kit. I'm like, well, I didn't say this. And maybe he said, he's like, wow, my friend's an idiot. But this is a completely playable kit. This is single tension design, but.
Oh, right. Single tension. I always thought Radio Kings were solid shell all the way around.
I had a parade drum one time. It was a 16 that was a solid shell. I've never had, any other drums that were solid shells. They might exist. But DW actually did some drums in the early 2000s that were similar, that kind of designed off this. DW Classics. In the mahogany shell, big old thick re-rings, and that was kind of like their throwback to Slingerland. I'm actually interested to see what they do now that they own the rights to Slingerland.
Right. Yeah. So for some new Radio Kings. So this would have been used, I don't know, most likely for a big band or something like a theater show or something.
The bass drums back there were like so big, and then they got small, and then they got long. Yeah. So
it's weird that there's never a floor tom with this, right? Is that?
There might have been. I mean, there was like outfits where you had a tunable tom there, a tunable tom coming off here on a mount. Sometimes you would see a floor tom on a cradle. Mm-hmm. The 40s is like really when they started to change, like technology-wise. Mm-hmm. Added legs, all that stuff. But I looked it up and I couldn't find. There wasn't a catalog I could find for 44 or 45. So I did not see. It wasn't like uncommon to have bass drum, rack tom, snare drum. Ludwig did that. Slingerland did that. Pretty sure Rogers did that. Wouldn't have a floor tom. So
you can't play Sing 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 without a floor tom, though. What are you supposed to do?
I don't know. Have you ever tried playing without a floor tom? It's challenging.
I got to play it this weekend.
There you go.
Sweet. Slingerland Radio King time capsule.